Welcome everybody here to your coverage of the D2CL, the final day of the Chinese division as we're doing our lower bracket consolation final as well as our grand final. Directly after our consolation final there will be a one-game advantage going the way of VG Gaming, who are the ones who are waiting in that part of the upper bracket. Who will go up against them? Well, we have two teams to battle it out in this full best of three. I'll be your host for the English live stream today, kicking off with this game. It will be Syndron, who is my co-caster. Long time, no chinwag.
Yeah, have we cast together this year? I don't think so.
I don't think so this year. But at the same time, I haven't really been casting as much this year, so there haven't been as many opportunities.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm trying to make myself a rare drop.
Yeah, this one's going to be a good one, I think. So I didn't get the opportunity to watch IG versus eHome yesterday, but spoiler alert, IG won, so they're here. But the LGD game versus VG Gaming was pretty good. I think LGD mainly lost both games because of weaker early game than VG. VG are super good at playing early game, but I think IG is not as good at early game as VG Gaming are. So for me, this series is probably going to be closer. And I believe the last 3 times these teams faced off, it was 2-1. Or was it? Well, let me see. Oh, it's not best of threes, all of the last series they had. So the last one was 2-1. Then they had a draw 1-1. And then before that... Or wait, never mind.
Yeah,
I'm looking at something wrong.
You're 100% right. So it was 2-1 to LGD. That was in the D2CL upper bracket. And then it was the 1-1 draw, which was in the main season of the D2CL. And the previous game they played was back on the 25th of the 3rd in Star Series, which was the best of 3, which is 2-1 to IG. So
they're completely tied, basically, on the last 3.
Yeah, it goes completely back and forward. Yeah, no one really got a huge advantage as far as the recent results. I'm actually interested to see how LGD approach this game, because you were saying maybe their early game isn't really as strong, because they were also picking heroes like Spectre. I know they ran the Morphling, but then again, so was VG Gaming on the offlane, and we also saw it being run yesterday quite effectively. But yeah, I think you're right with LGD, where they leave themselves quite exposed in that early point of the game.
Yeah, well, for now they're going to grab a Phoenix, so that's a pretty good way of putting pressure on the enemy supports to kind of stick around. Phoenix is one of those offlaners that if it's left one-on-one against the safe laner, can actually beat a lot of the safe laners that are popular right now. So that probably means IG will allocate at least one support to stay in the safe lane for the first about 5 minutes or something like that. And I cannot imagine that one being Shaker, because he's actually not that good against Phoenix in lane. Phoenix will just start hitting him. Sure, you can block off Phoenix with a fissure, but there's a thing called Icarus Dive, and then that's kind of useless anyway. So
I'd also be massively concerned if they commit the Earthshaker, because LGD could just get something else along the lines of a Tree and Protector, which has been used as a combination previously in the D2CL to keep that Phoenix completely immune on the offlane.
Yeah, and it's also great for mid-game teamfights. Overgrowth into Supernova is very powerful, since you can't attack while you're rooted. So it's a nice combo that LGD could go for. I don't know if they actually really play that, but they might be able to grab it. But there's another big important point, is they have a sniper mid for IG, and you want to protect your sniper early on, because if he gets ganked a couple of times in the lane, he can be pretty weak. But on the other hand, he scales very, very well with farm, and Shaker is a great ganker for sniper. Block off the enemy mid laner, triple shrapnel, chase them down and kill them. And also works very nice as defensive support. So moving the Shaker here for IG is probably going to be the call already now with only 2 picks. And then they want a static support in lane against Phoenix. I'm thinking Skyroth or Silencer would be good choices. But maybe they wait a bit and see what LGD are planning and go for like the offlaner first. Or maybe the safe lane carry for burning.
Well, they could go down that line. I'd prefer to even see the secondary support up at this point, primarily just because you're the one that's having to set the tone right now. You've already managed to pick up the sniper. You banned out the combo I thought they might have tried to get, which is with the troll as well. But if you get something as stable as... Okay, I take it back too. This is the reason why I should not run after Blitz in the morning before I come and cast. Because I just missed the Chen ban as well. Because if Chorn had that one, then they would be able to dictate the terms of this game against LGD. They would decide when they push, instead of waiting for LGD. And when you're picking second, LGD will be able to get the counter picks on you.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to ban out the Spectre that LGD played yesterday. So Morphling is still available, and I actually think LGD will go for it for Sylar. It's a nice hero against Sniper. Fairly mobile, doesn't care too much about the Shrapnel, can always just waveform or replicate out of it. And when you get Replicate to that high level and it gets a long cast range, the cast range of Replicate is actually longer than Sniper's attack range. So when the fight breaks out, you just Replicate on Sniper, you instantly Replicate into it, and you start fighting Sniper in melee range. And that's when Sniper is really fragile, and a hero like Morphling will easily beat him on stats. Now there's the Silencer for IG, mainly counterpick to Phoenix, also just a good laner in general. Good support when you're doing 2-on-2s. The Orb attack, Glaives of Wisdom, very nice since it doesn't draw creep aggro. And they can probably secure their safe laner very well with this pick.
I'm kind of almost sad that this isn't eHome picking up Silencer, because eHome were the only team that ran Ursa Warrior in combination with the Silencer. They rammed this as a bit of a combo to the Bristleback combo, however. But
Ursa's pretty good against Phoenix.
Yeah, it's fantastic up against Phoenix, and we still have no idea exactly what the other cores are for LGD. But if it's anyone that can get caught out without getting a BKB on them, then Silencer is going to be even more effective. We did also see yesterday where the Silencer, when it was picked up, ended up going into this more of a dual lane mid to try and get earlier control. I got a funny feeling he might have to do it again, because we're staring down the barrel of a Tiny right now of LGD.
I'm not sure if they're if that's what they're planning with this IO, to be honest. They might also just run it dual safe lane and run a roaming Venge, because
what other combos have you seen coming out of China? Because the only ones which, like, digging through my notes, all I had was Tiny Wisp, Tiny Wisp, Tiny Wisp.
10 seconds remaining.
It's just not that good against Sniper in lane, I feel. IO Tiny, you can... Oh, well, it's good against Sniper if he's alone, but if there's a Shaker protecting him, Sniper should be able to get pretty decent farm.
Reserve time.
Now, as long as Tiny gets it as well, I guess that's no problem at all. So they might look for that, but it's a little bit... It's interesting for me that they choose to pick IO into Silencer and Shaker, who are actually two of the really good counter picks. Whenever you relocate in, you fissure the relocate, and you can use Global Silence. Now they even have Axe too against the relocate. So I'm not sure if LGD are going to play this the traditional IO Tiny way, or if they're looking for another kind of hero set where it's not so much about relocate ganks, which IO Tiny are actually pretty good without using relocate, but I'm thinking... Another hero who could be good with that is Chaos Knight, but this is not a good Chaos Knight draft, I think. Into Shaker and Axe, that wouldn't be a good pick. So they're going to get Brew. Okay. So they're waiting with their carry till last.
Yeah. Well, unless they have a... Actually, was it... You know, I've got... my notes aren't loading on me, and it's actually really annoying the living crap out of me. Because I had prep work on this one, and I can't remember if it was eHome or if it was Brewmaster. Haha! Haha! Done! Fucking brilliant. I found my prep sheet. But the Brewmaster is actually played by Sylar as a safe laner. That was something which came up on my notes, I believe. Yep.
10 seconds remaining.
So it's not a guaranteed mid. It's been played a couple of times in China where they run as a Brewmaster as a safe lane core, and you're running very similar to the way you do the Centaur, and just rush up the Blink Dagger.
Invictus Gaming's
It looks like IG is still looking at the way you're looking at it with the Chaos Knight, even if it is a bad pickup for him.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to ban that. I really think they had the heroes they needed against CK, but they're going to do it just for safety here, and that means they are leaving Tiny if LGD want it, but... I'm a little surprised if they run this Brewmaster safe lane. I don't think it really fits the timing windows of their lineup. If you safe lane a Brewmaster, you get a very fast blink, and then you're looking to teamfight. But if you're doing that with an IO tandem that needs a bit of time to farm up, and you have an offlane Phoenix that gets completely shit on by Silencer, then your timing window doesn't really fit. So I think for me, it's better to put the Brew mid. And
I'd be more worried though the Brewmaster would just get caught out, like unless he's going to walk around with, well, even like Stout Shield and a whole bunch of consumables and a Wisp to buff him up. That Sniper, if you get even a half decent fissure block, like making a choke point, then the Sniper could potentially just rip that Brewmaster apart. I don't see him getting any CS, which means no blink, no transition. And because you're dual laning it, your level 6 is also going to be very delayed.
It's a little bit of a weird situation. I think the best thing for LGD might be to dual lane the Brew mid with the Wisp, just to secure the farm, and then he only needs level 6 or 7, right? Then the extra levels he gets after that he can get from 1 or 2 good team fights with the split, and then they could safe lane Venge +1, and it looks like it's going to be Sylar on the PA. I really don't know about this LGD draft, man. I feel like when it comes to the timing of this lineup and this PA last pick, so the PA sniper matchup is pretty interesting because they kind of counter each other to an extent. PA is really good at coming up close and hitting hard, but at the same time, snipers' headshots can't miss, so blur doesn't work against all the headshots. That means 40% of snipers' attacks are guaranteed hits that slow PA by 100% attack speed and move speed.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big problem. And then you're also picking it into an Axe, who is excellent against melee carries, especially when they're together with Wisp and they come in close, then you catch both, into a Shaker who can block her off, and into a Morphling with a single target stun for 4.25 against PA, who's a very fragile hero. So, like, for me, it's a big advantage for IG from the draft here, and LGD, I'm curious to see how they lane, because I feel like the laning stage has to go well for them, else they probably just lose the mid game.
Because I'm looking at it right now, where I'm looking at LGD having more power in the mid game once the BKB comes up for the Phantom Assassin. Because once you've got that, what is there really that's going to control you? All you need to do is get in range for maybe 1-2 hits and hope one of them is the coup de grace, and then sniper evaporates. We had exactly the same thing happen yesterday, where this sniper had all the farm in the world, and all PA had to do was walk in close, crit once, and the sniper was down to about 100 of his HP when he was walking around before that with about 2.5.
Yeah, well, if they can do it that way, then sure, but the really tricky thing here is once a fight, if we imagine how a fight breaks out for LGD, they will probably initiate with a brew blink clap split, right? So if Silencer is fast, he can global when he blinks in. Then brew dies, probably. Then they can just counterplay. And even if the fight breaks out, if Axe is not dealt with, he can always counterplay the PA. So no matter how LGD initiate these fights, it's pretty much dependent on either catching out the Silencer while he's not protected by the Shaker, or the PA simply needs to get so much farm that even if the fight isn't perfectly executed, they can still win it. If you look at late game as well, you're playing a PA solo core into a Sniper, Morphling, and arguably an Axe too. And it is going to be Ferrara and the Morphling, so it's not a support morph or an offlane morph. This is a morph that will get items.
There's also going to be a PA that's
going to get...
There's also going to be a PA that's going to go up against him directly. So they run the Sniper as a safe laner. And that, it's not exactly what LGD were really expecting, because they've got Sylar here in the middle lane with the PMS and a couple of shared tangos. So I think they were looking to try and contest up against this Sniper, maybe +1 that was going to go to the mid. Either that, or they've read the Morphling perfectly after they saw Ferrari picked it up.
Yeah. I don't know if this is going to catch IG that much by surprise. I think they're expecting the IO duel in mid. But yeah, like you said, that it's with PA might be surprising. Still, like, this lane, it doesn't actually matter who IG put mid. They're not looking to harass Sylar. So, whatever they put mid is just trying to trade off farm. You see Ferrari immediately buying a pack of tangos and selling it again. Okay, never mind. But he's just going to try to get a bottle here, and then he'll probably farm with waveform.
Yep.
And if there's any sort of rotation, if they choose to move the Shaker mid, maybe that secures him some more farm. And this bottom lane, the Phoenix, if Faith plays this well, Phoenix could actually stay very, very low level in this lane.
Well, we can watch him closely. For now, I kind of want to keep my eyes on Ferrari. The last 3 games of him that I've watched, Ferrari has not only just dominated the middle lane, he's decimated it. Like, we're looking at double the CS by 10 minutes. So I want to see exactly how far ahead he can get of Sylar here in the mid. But currently he's already managed to find 2 denies up against his PA that just can't find anything. And he's lost control of the creep wave as well.
I think Sylar is going to need help, actually. This matchup is not PA favored. If it's not a big part of their... Let's say they had 2 cores, and PA doesn't need to get exceptional farm, then it's fine. But the way they've drafted, PA is their only scaling mid-late game hero. So if PA doesn't have a good lane, it's got some pretty big implications on what's going to happen a bit later in the game. So either they need to rotate and put the Brew mid, or they need to help out the PA in the long run. She's still doing okay, like, she's 4-2, but the problem is this is the starting CS until Ferrari starts getting really good damage, and then after that she probably only farms with Stifling Dagger. And that's just not full farm.
But how do you rotate someone off LGD? Like, Xiaowei at this point has to stay up here to help out maybe, or else Luo is just going to come point blank range up against the Brewmaster, and then just spin your heart away.
You could probably keep MMY mid for a bit, I think. He's just looking to stack a couple of camps here so that they have that as recovery later on to get good levels on on either two of their supports or on the PA, as you see Phoenix is currently level 1 and back to base, so everything going as expected in this bottom lane. Yeah. He's actually never going to get level 2 if IG play this perfectly now. He can't do anything.
It's like up on top lane, they want to have a crack over at Luo. Xiaowei, he's got Wave of Terror and a Magic Missile. She's using the Wave of Terror first, so then maybe... Okay, this is a deep dive. Taking way too much damage from the tower. Xiaowei does lock in a great Fissure block.
Wow.
Luo, one more attack's going to get it. In fact, he spins the last bit of damage, and Brewmaster drops. Chuan, so quick on that TP.
That was perfect. That was incredible. So the reason this is a really good play isn't just that he gets the Fissure block, but it's that his exact TP position is the only way he gets that block. So he TPs aggressively to the top right of the tower, and that's the only path there is for this Fissure block, and he lands it perfectly, instantly when he comes down. That was really, really good.
You might want to keep your eyes on bottom lane as well. Yao's already been cursed. He's going to have to just Icarus dive himself away, but he only just got back to this lane.
He managed to get level 2, though.
Small mercy. Yeah. Finding level 3 might be more of a challenge.
He has to go back again, pretty much, or use all his tangos. But so, to explain why Silencer is like the best lane counter to Phoenix in the game. When you get hit by Last Word, you have two choices with Phoenix. Unless you skill Sunrain the lane, but you don't do that by level 2, right? So you have two choices. Either you use Icarus Dive, which gets you silenced, so you can't stop it again. So you will always return to your starting position. Or you cast Fire Spirits, and then you take the full silence of Last Word first, which is currently 4 seconds, before you can cast Icarus Dive. And that's 4 seconds in which the enemy heroes can hit you.
Yep.
So it's an incredibly hard lane matchup. And when you're in the dire offlane, it's even worse, because then you have less opportunity to find experience. And you see Faith with the lane ward down here keeps complete tabs of Phoenix. Yao is actually just stuck in this game. He can't go anywhere. And as a result, he might have to get experience from the stacks in the jungle to ever get level 6.
But are you really wanting to do that? I suppose there's not many other options, so maybe they are forced to do it. For me, I'm more concerned about the fact that LGD don't have really a way to get through these stacks. Like, with Spirit's going to be one way to do it, with the Wave of Terror helping, maybe a clap from maybe. But Phantom Assassin, you're not looking at any kind of cleave until you get something like a Battle Fury. Besides also running this as a solo mid-PA, and is a BF really what you're searching for?
Maybe, actually. If he keeps farming as well as he is right now, I think it's definitely a possibility. He's doing pretty well here.
Ferrari just aggressively waveformed in, and Yao was waiting for this one and throws out the sprites, and Ferrari's got 3 stick charges trying to strength ball himself up as much as possible, but underneath that town, this time there's no TP support, but with a stick charge, he's still not going to die. Meanwhile, Vengeful Spirit's in fact dying up on the top. Morphling will die behind the tier 1. Are they going for a second? They're looking for maybe. Chuan's got Fissure back off cooldown, cancels the south, there's another call, plus the Battle Hunger. Chance of survival is very low here for maybe. Maybe, well, okay, there's Luo, no spin. But they're able to get the kill. So a double kill on the top lane for the combo of the Axe as well as the Earthshaker, and they're TPing the hell out of there.
Uh-oh, John can't. He's pretty dead.
He could have purchased himself a TP though. And now he will.
He's gonna do that.
Free gold.
This is pretty big for LGD to get Silo these 2 kills, so now he's probably going to be almost topping. He's actually topping the net worth over Burning, who's currently 11 CS ahead. So these 2 kills, really big. The build-up for the Battle Fury, the reason I kind of like it in this game is, as mentioned earlier, he has to be very farmed this game to be able to out-carry the IG lineup. So I think a greedy build-up is very nice if they can still get away with the early game, and so far they're looking okay.
He's going for a little bit more of an earlier fighting build. Like with the PMS plus the Ring of Aquila in for Sylar, this is going to be a bit of a delayed Battle Fury. I got nothing against it because he, like, with the rotation up to top, finding kills, he's managed to find 2 already in 6 minutes. So it's still quite possible for him to reach the Battle Fury. Just, okay, MMY.
Oh, wow.
Tether back down again.
Ferrari didn't even have vision up there. I'm not sure if MMY just walked down the stairs a millisecond then up again, and Ferrari knew he was there, but that's a pretty aggressive waveform. But I think it's a good play. Ferrari just needs to pressure MMY as much as he can. MMY currently sitting on a regen rune that he really doesn't want to use until Sylar gets initiated on, so he can just keep him running really easily with the tether. But if Ferrari can force it out, it's really good.
Xiaowei's about to die. And potentially MMY as well. They got to loop themselves around with this smoke gang from IG, so Chuan, Faith, as well as Luo, searching for the target. And they're actually scouting out the stacks, as well as Yao Wei moving up. Where's that silence? Fissure as well from Chuan. It's going to reach, as well as the Curse of the Sun and the Battle Hunger. So that'll open itself up for a dunk. They still came here for a reason, which was to try and take these stacks away from LGD. Or at least force them now to farm it up, because they know it's known.
Uh-oh, Chuan. The creep wave finds you there.
In fact, creep wave blocks him there.
That's pretty unfortunate.
How did he get aggro? How did he get aggro in there?
The creeps have... so I can't remember exactly how it works with fog, but the creeps kind of have, like... I think either they see him there, but there's also something with like creeps having map hack to an extent. Where if you're in the fog, if they're close enough in the aggro range, they will still aggro you, even if they can't see you. But I honestly can't remember the exact way those mechanics work. Sometimes they've seemed a little bit iffy, but it could just be, you know, bias in the situation that you feel like they don't work like they should, but they actually do.
It's like one of those questionable mechanics we saw yesterday, where you throw down a sentry ward for one side and the Ancients came in and de-warded it, because it had vision already from another sentry ward. Yeah,
the neutrals having true sight from sentries is really weird. So if, for example, if there's a Sand King on the Radiant, and the Dire team put a sentry down in neutral camp, the neutrals will start hitting Sand King in the Sandstorm.
Looks like Chon's going to end up dying here. With a fissure, there was the Curse of the Silence going over on Yao. He is not going to Icarus dive. In fact, he's dead. This Assassination's going to fly in. They kept him silent. So it's Phoenix for an Earthshaker as a trade-off.
That's 4 intelligence so far for Faith, and I think it's more about Faith not gaining the intelligence, but the enemy heroes losing it. So Phoenix is a hero who has fairly low mana pool relative to the cost of the spells. So Supernova costs 200, and the Spirits cost 110 on level 4. And you see Phoenix's current mana pool is 286. So if he dies 2 or 3 more times to a Silencer gank, he actually won't have mana for both his spells. That's a problem. Then you have to itemize for it. And you generally don't want to itemize for lack of mana just to use your spells once. That
especially if you continue to die and you continue to lose intelligence.
And it's the same with Brewmaster too. If they can kill him a couple times with Silencer, then he's also going to need to itemize for it.
Well, at least Yao's now going to find his levels, as with the Fire Spirits, that's his way of farming up these neutrals. Or these stacked camps. But he's being watched doing it, and they have no desire to contest it, because the Axe is also finding a large amount of farm. Axe has Blink Dagger 9 minutes and 30 seconds in. This is almost the exact same time that IG was able to achieve it in the last game, in their previous game for the D2CL. But in that case, they were using more of a ganking combo. They had a combination with the VS +1.
Oh, bottom lane burning. Doesn't have Assassination as it looks like. He actually did have Assassinate, but he didn't cast it, because Phoenix can outrange it with Icarus Dive anyway, but he forces him back to base. Keeps dominating. Rotation now from Xiao 8 to get some XP and gold on the bot lane. But I want to say this early game for IG going way better than LGD's.
Yeah.
And the Axe offlane is really the biggest winner so far, I think. He went offlane, he's 3-0 with 40 CS minute 10. That's really, really good.
They're coming for your home right now. The tier 1 tower in the bottom lane it's minutes numbered. Actually, not even minutes, more like seconds. All they'd like to do is just get one jump, bring one player down. Surprisingly, they're attempting this without putting down the normal observer ward on top of the cliff.
Yeah, do they have one? They don't have any wards.
Sean doesn't.
They can't really ward. I don't know if they have any in the store. They actually do have wards in stock.
They got one in stock.
Radiant structures are fortified.
But they just tried to do a smoke gank without any kind of vision, because they put both their other wards, like one's in the dire jungle and one's watching mid lane. That's where their vision is. Should flag the fact too that maybe he has picked up his Blink Dagger, or should be picking up his Blink Dagger in a moment. And he has Brewmaster split. So they could, if they want to LGD, contest bottom lane. But at the same time, without MMY having relocate, LGD getting the better of the positioning in this fight, I don't know if that's really possible. But they're going to try it on top. Maybe buy your Blink Dagger before you die. Like, okay, there he is. Yeah, no, still hasn't purchased it. Global Silence will be there. And he'll buy the Blink Dagger just as he's dying. Up on top.
He's still got the tower. I think this is... I don't know, this is an even trade, more or less, and maybe was pushing it alone. So the reason it's an even trade is that this bottom lane tower for LGD gets denied. So each team gets one tower, but LGD's gets denied and they pay a Brewmaster for it, who already had his Blink. So, considering how much time IG spent on that bottom lane, how many heroes they rotated, that was not really worth it. And LGD analyzed the situation perfectly, just kept the Brew top, knew that if they needed to kill him, they would need to rotate multiple heroes and or use global. And that's exactly what happened. And Sylar, I think, was just farming mid meanwhile, so actually a lot of, I want to say, pretty big advantage for LGD in the last minute and a half here.
But what does it really turn into? Because I'm still looking at ENG ahead in the net worth as well as the experience earned by 1.5 and 2k respectively. So, where is all this farm? Where is all this money going into? What timing is LGD searching for?
I'm actually really surprised looking at the graphs that it's going more up for IG than LGD there. They did deny the tower. I guess that kill on Brew was just worth that much. It's just a little surprising for me that this one kill was worth more than all the tower gold denied, but, well...
Well, it was his safe lane farmer. He's still a level 8.5 that you just killed off.
Dire's structures are fortified.
He didn't have a killing spree, but it's still a large amount of experience.
Oh, this is going to be a really big fight.
Where are you going, Courier? Delivering a ghost into Ferrari. Good Nova position. IG burning, in fact, doing exactly what his name suggests. Faith will be able to escape out. There's no global silence to help out the rest of his team. The Fissure flies in, but it's not enough of a space creator. The Brewmaster blinked and split so early that there was just no way for IG to get control of that fight, and they were right on top of the sniper. Great fight for LGD.
Yao making so much space in that fight. Perfect dive into Quickfire Spears and ult. Ferrari will still get the mid tower, but it's ultimately going to be a 1-for-1 tower trade here, as there's no way in hell IG can defend this. Looks like they might want to try to delay it a little bit with a Fissure, but they're going to be too late.
Well, there is no Brewmaster split.
Oh, denied!
Global Silence up in 2 seconds' time. They're having a jump in. And, well, burning, he's going to get pushed back straight out again. Rejected at the front. Faith also having to retreat himself out. Ferrari coming close towards LGD, but LGD have got what they wanted. They just managed to take 2 kills onto a sniper, plus extra change, and the tier 1 tower. Even if it was denied, I don't think that's really going to matter to LGD. They're getting a lot of map control.
Yeah, and if this is like the last exchange, then the fact that IG denied that with Ferrari, the trade-off of killing Burning is still better than getting not getting the tower denied, so... Yeah, LGD, they pretty much pull it back to even now. They're a little bit ahead on experience, but it's kind of negligible at this point how little this is. But it's more about what happens in the next 5 to 10 minutes, right? Because now Sylar actually almost has the Battle Fury if that's what he wants to buy. He's... Oh, wait, he's still about 1,000 away, actually. It's going to be fairly late.
We're going up towards top. Chuan, well, he's got a little bit of help behind him. Maybe he's trying to initiate in here, but MMY going to get assassinated out. They do still get the kill over on Chuan, but it kind of isolated them out a little bit too much. Brewmaster will drop, and Yao just has to Icarus dive himself away to safety. LGD biting up a little bit more than they could chew. But while they're doing that, Sylar's still having a great old time on bottom lane, pushing in the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, if he gets the last hit on this is going to be like a 17-minute Battle Fury, which isn't that fast, but you need to remember he has Treads, Poor Man's Shield, and Ring of Aquila, so going for a very, very early stat build-up here, where if you go for the very fast Battle Fury and you get great farm, you can get it like minute 11 with boots, but with all of these extra items, it will of course get delayed a bit. Yeah.
But it's understandable that he did this, considering you're running an Axe with the Earthshaker and Silencer. You're going to be moving around trying to find ganks. And there's no way PA can be involved if he's going a raw Battle Fury. He'll end up just falling apart. LGD also just smoked on top of an Observer Ward, which is why IG is backing the hell out of here.
Yeah, this gank is pretty much bound to fail. Ferrari might get swapped, but he can just wait for him right now.
And she was trying to wait for it, so then Xiaowei can come in for the stun. Well, that didn't really work. Ferrari can't strength more fast enough. And the Fissure didn't find enough space.
I actually think he would have just lived if he waveformed straight down the lane and Chuan could have just fissured for him. But he tried to go for waveform into the fog there. I don't know if he was expecting being able to TP. He might have misclicked actually where he wanted to waveform and start TPing meanwhile. And just didn't get it off, and Venge easily stuns him and they get a kill they maybe shouldn't have had there.
I think it was also a nice positioning coming out from Xiaowei. The fact that he went further down inside the lane. So Morphling, I don't think he really had a choice but to go for the Fog of War. Because if he just kept running down the lane, he would have been swapped and stunned.
Well, he was swapped already. That's how the fight initiated, right? They initiated by swapping him in, so if he waveforms down, they can get Avenged. Aw, speaking of Avenged stun.
Yep,
Faith
gets whoa. Don't know if you really want to be trying to fight that one, especially with the relocate coming in. Sylar's the one who's brought in. He's still got a Stifling Dagger. Nice Fissure. And Sylar, well, he'll throw the dagger out, maybe. He's got his clap. He's baiting it out a couple of times. The assassination's coming the way here of the Brewmaster, trying to look for the stun, and Xiaowei swapping the axe away, so he's incapable of going for the dunk.
Very, very nice swap by Xiao. The prediction there. I think maybe might have called out that he was getting assassinated. Can of course see it in his status bar. And the moment it was about to hit, Xiao swapped him away and secured that kill on Axe. And they're going straight for Roche. If they can get away with this, this is a really big win. These are the kind of fights that win games, where you get a kill, the enemy team tries to fight, they couldn't, they lose another hero in the Axe, and then they lose Roche too. So this one pick off on Faith became way more valuable than it should have.
It's extra insurance. The Morphling Replicate can't slow him down, so Roshan into the hands of LGD. Brewmaster will in fact be the one to take the Aegis the Immortal as opposed to Sylar. That's a little surprising.
Yeah, I don't know if he needs it, really. Well, the nice thing is, so if the fights break out the way I was imagining before the game started, where he tries to blink, clap, split, and they global, then he still has a second chance in that team fight. So with that in mind, this is actually a nice choice for that type of fight. But if you get the standard type of fight where Brew gets split off, he's a pretty poor Aegis carrier. But I think this is to ensure that they will at least get the split off in the next big fight.
Right. So next target for IG is a smoke movement to go into the dire jungle. Unfortunately for them, there's no one there. Maybe they're expecting Sylar to go back up there and start farming. Now he's got the Battle Fury. But as they do so, the Vengeful Spirit takes out the bottom tower. Vladimir's almost done over on the Brewmaster. So Aura Stack's life is looking so much better for LGD. And Sylar's getting to a point where he's going to get his next major item soon.
Yeah, he's doing very well for himself. 3-0 with 103 CS, so it's looking good. I really like the choice of Xiao to buy Midas this game. I think buying a Midas on both the Venge and the Phoenix is going to be a great choice. Now that the early game has worked out the way they want, they still need to ultimately win the late game at some way. I don't think they're far enough ahead to just finish the game off minute 30. So the Venge might need to get a couple of hard-hitting items to complement the PA, or a lot of utility to just make PA a monster, like a Vlad's and maybe an AC on the Venge, something like that. That's very expensive, but definitely doable when you have the Midas built up. So I like this choice a lot here.
Investment for the future. Right now, LGD, they still need to find money in other ways apart from a head of Midas. And that's going to be from Wisp and PA taking over the Radiant jungle. They also managed to move back and defend up on top. So with the pressure coming into the tier 2 tower, where there was just over half of the HP removed from that tier 2 tower, the second burning TP down, LGD realized they could get control of their own jungle again. Which is kind of funny when IG leave two very aggressive ward positions inside the dire jungle, trying to keep tabs on what LGD is doing, while LGD have done exactly the same thing, one of these being dewarded now in the last seconds of its life. It just feels like LGD is able to freely move and control more areas of the map. And IG are trying to contest them. Like, they smoke ganked up on top, now they move aggressively into their own jungle. But they keep getting scouted out.
That ward is really good right now.
Is that enough damage for Ferrari?
Oh, relocate mid?
Yeah, too late. Ferrari jumped up to his replicate, which is in the top river.
They did force out a global though, which I guess Ferrari actually didn't need, but just for safety here from Faith, globaling when the relocate came in.
Considering Ferrari's only 200 gold or so away from having his E-Blade, I don't blame him for having safety first.
Oh, this is fine. Now the question is if LGD are going to use this Aegis, because now they know global is on cooldown. And I think that's such a crucial ability for IG that if I'm LGD now, I try to push the bottom tier 2. And it looks like they will be doing just that. They're rotating down the Venge from the river, and the other heroes are pretty much almost already there. And maybe can play so aggressively. He wants to use this Aegis anyway, which is expiring in a minute and a half. So, yeah, this tower is definitely gone. The IG have no interest in defending it. The question is, can LGD get a secondary tower in maybe the mid lane?
I think they can get to the mid lane in time before the Aegis expires. But what are you going to do? Force out the bottom? You're going to find yourself in a fight which you don't want to take. Even if you
he still has a good minute and 15 seconds on maybe Aegis. Or they can also just relax and farm. Like you said, they're controlling the map pretty well. They know their PA is getting a lot of farm. Maybe can play so aggressively because, as mentioned, still has the Aegis, so in the bot lane if they try to gank him, they won't really get anything out of it. And, well, looks like they will... Well, they are pinging the tower, but that was a defensive ping from the Radiant. So I think they're expecting the push to come, and doesn't actually look like it will.
LGD aren't having a bar of it. Maybe when this BKB is done for Sylar, they'll have a crack, but for now, it's It's play Minus advantage. It's just play patient. It's keep IG moving around the map, searching for ganks, wasting their smoke, and keeping burning at a point, because that's one thing which I'm not even feeling the influence of this sniper. For a 9.5k net worth, he's the highest over on IG. I'm feeling like the Morphling's going to be more effective considering Ferrari's finished up that E-blade of his.
For a while, yeah. The thing is, Ferrari has that one burst, and then what does he really do after that, right? He can pick off one target, but when it comes to the consistent damage, Morphling does not have it yet. Oh, well, he does, but he can't reliably stay in the fight against a PA and a Brew. Where a Sniper can stay at a long range. So I think over the course of the fight, you'll probably find Burning will deal more hero damage than the Morphling will, but Morphlings will be so much faster, and if he can find a key hero, like especially the Wisp would be the kill, that makes PA so much weaker, and Morphling is actually completely able to jump onto that Wisp. There's almost no counterplay available for LGD. They need to instantly Venge stun when he jumps on the Wisp, or else Wisp is just dead.
Oh, here they go. Middle lane, Luo for the jump. Turns on the Blade Mail. Silas hurting himself pretty badly here. That BKB still coming out the courier, but it's way too late. The Global Silence helping him out. Silence gets the pickup. Into now the Nova. Buying space for LGD, but Ferrari doesn't really care. He waveforms in very, very deep next to MMY to kill off the poor little Silencer. I mean, the poor little Vengeful Spirit. As the Brewmaster split over towards Burning. A little bit of trouble for him in the middle because they're coming in close, but then again, when you have that E-Blade from Ferrari, that Whisk just goes down. I don't think maybe he's going to escape from this one. Even with the Echo Slam off target, maybe he keeps getting headshot by Burning, and there's no way to escape. It's a full team wipe going the way of Invictus Gaming. And all they lost was a Silencer.
Yeah, this is what happens when they get a good jump. LGD were not in a position to take that fight, though. When your PA gets jumped and dies before the fight starts, you should probably just get the hell out of there. But they actually chose to try and fight 4-on-5. And, I mean, at the end of the day, risk-reward ratio, just not really worth it, right? The chance that you win that fight 5-on-4, I understand you have a Brewmaster and a Phoenix, but if anything goes wrong, you just lose multiple heroes. I don't know if they knew Ferrari had the Ethereal Blade. Because if they didn't, that might have probably changed their perspective a little bit. But this is a very, very big win for IG.
Yeah,
this will come in handy.
That's huge as far as swinging that momentum back, because LGD were really grabbing the reins of this game. So they almost level up the kill count, get a small advantage with that one, and they're going to get ahead in the experience too. The fact that Burning is getting to a position where he can get his immunity items, that BKB starting to come up. Ferrari progressing through his items as well. Be it Manta, be it whatever. Any kind of stat increase to help.
And the problem for LGD actually is when Burning has the BKB, the only way they really kill him is by swapping him into the fight. And that's just not... It's not that likely that Xiao8 will be getting in a position where he can do that. Because once the BKB is up, PA can't Blink Strike, and the Brew split doesn't do anything. And I think he's mainly building it for the Brew so he doesn't just get cycloned or zoned out by the boulder toss and the fire aspect, but... Once he has that, he can reliably deal damage from a distance. And with Ferrari also getting good farm, I feel like we're reaching that point that I was thinking about before the game started, where, well, if PA doesn't really take off and get far ahead, ultimately she now needs to beat a Morphling and a Sniper in a late game, which is pretty much inevitably going to happen now. So, if you look at the net worths, PA is ahead by 1,000 on the Morphling and by about almost 2,000 on the Sniper, but that's just not enough, right? Because Brew's going to fall off heavily soon. And even with all the overcharge in the world, you're still not going to survive against those two heroes when your BKB is over.
So the better way, just get the proper initiation off at the start.
Yep, they have to find a fight soon. I think the next Roshan is theirs, so that could be the start.
Well, how is IG even really meant to try and contest that? Like, you do have Shrapnel's nice jump pins and such, but if that Brewmaster gets his split off and if PA gets a couple of good crits, and especially if he can get in range of that Sniper, even though Sniper's got 1400 HP, I don't think Burning is really going to feel very safe up against the Phantom Assassin. How do you really keep your distance away from Phantom Strike? Because he'll jump to one of your teammates that's trying to beat that buffer, and then he ends up just being more like playing a game of checkers.
If they want to contest it, they definitely need better vision than they have. They have one ward which is expiring in 40, but it's not covering the important area here. The one they have, it sees more of the bottom lane, a little bit of the river, but it doesn't see close to the Roche pit from the top side. And well, looks like LGD. This is a very good play if it works out. Smoke gank into Roche. Since Roche has spawned, I don't know if they checked it, but they have a pretty good feeling he should be up now. So if they do get this smoke gank on Chuan, which it looks like they never mind, they changed their plans.
Sean didn't reveal himself until too late. They moved over towards the smaller camps in the mid, and yeah, this smoke gang's going to fail for them. They see Ferrari, but they know they can't kill Ferrari. Between Replicate, Strength Morph, as well as Waveform, getting any kind of gank on him is next to impossible with their heroes. Because they didn't have that, like that hero which you were suggesting during the drafting phase, having something like a Skywrath Mage. Having that seal, their own silence that can hold the Morphling in position. But now he's got a BKB, I suppose that Skywrath wouldn't help as much anyway.
I think, are you saying Skywrath for LGD? Because I think I was suggesting it for IG to beat the Phoenix, and then they got Silencer, which was also good. But you're right, for the other side, that's the same problem, actually. Like, they still have the problem with how do they control single targets when they have BKBs. That's what you pick the Brewmaster for, but when the BKBs are up, he's just not that useful anymore. So they don't really have a good tool. What they do have for themselves is that the Supernova stun goes through BKB. It might not seem like the biggest deal, but it's still a 2-second really big AoE stun that Sylar can use to lock onto a target. And with Yao having the Yules, he can break out a Global Silence and then get a good Supernova off afterwards. So I think it's definitely possible for LGD to still take fights. Now with the PA with Basher and Aegis, it looks like they might be aiming for a fight very soon. Because if LG just sit around, like, even though you see the Golden Experience is favoring them, I don't feel like they're leading the game. I really don't.
Is that just because you have so much confidence in the Sniper and the Morphling?
Yeah. When it comes to mid-late game, having Axe against BKBs is just so much better than Brewmaster. You've got Global Silence, which also goes through the BKBs. And then Shaker with a Blink Echo, which is going to be up in 300 gold, can also catch heroes off guard before they even BKB. So it's just, I feel like as far as initiation goes and just team fighting in general, IG's lineup, or LGD's was better than IG's, say, 5 to 10 minutes ago. But now we're reaching a point when they're on par, and then it's just about, well, who has the better late game? And for me, easily the Radiant. So it's going to be hard for LGD in my opinion, but if they can find a good team fight now, they have a lineup that's very fast at pushing too. PA hits very hard with Overcharge, they have the Vlads on Brew for the extra damage, and of course the Vengeance Aura. So the tools are there. They need to find the fight.
Well, IG's not giving it to him. Every time they look for it, IG's moved into a different location. And probably the only way I think they can force this by trying to go out to high ground. Like, but that means you got to 5-man this all together, all down one lane, and just go for it. And hope that you don't get like split pushed up by Ferrari. Because then IG might just find themselves into a trade position, which means then you can't just take a tier 2 tower. That won't be enough to force a reaction from IG.
Still difficult for IG to trade against Relocate. Split pushing against Wisp is very, very difficult. So it's possible that they can actually do this, where IG are trying top. However, they do have a Morphling with a Replicate, so he actually can do it. He doesn't really care about the Relocate, so yeah. It is indeed going to be a trade by the looks of it, unless LGD port back. They don't, so this tower is gone. 1 for 1. Well, once again, as long as IG are trading, I think they're doing just fine. And they're trading with one hero, whereas LGD are running their entire lineup. And that means Luo can still farm the Dire jungle at the same time, so probably a slight net win there for IG, but it's such a small amount that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's negligible at this point. I think the only thing which really matters for this game is going to be the timing. Like, when do they try and get this initiation off? You can keep sitting back and farming up and going for these trade-offs, but I'm coming over to your way of thinking, Sin. I'm looking at IG and actually going up high ground against them is scary as hell. So you don't blame LGD for not doing it. But catching him out of position, that's even harder.
High grounding into Axe, Sniper, and Shaker is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And if that isn't hard enough, there's also Global Silence.
And the Global Silence is going to kill you once you try and dive back past the towers, because you're probably going to look for the kills before you think about the
This could be good for LGD, though. This is actually a pretty good position.
Well, Ferrari doesn't have a Replicate. He's actually lost his Replicate now, so he doesn't have a chance more. But then again, Xiao Wei doesn't have a chance to survive. The Relocate will come. They look for Chorn. They will pick him off. Global Silence was used. But Nurse Shaker for a Vengeful Spirit was the trade-off. And yeah, that's all you had. The Relocate was already used as well, and now you have to go back to the mid.
It took a long time for LGD to assist Xiao out there. He ran in, Venge stunned the Morphling. No one helped him, and he just died to a shotgun. That looked a little bit awkward with the communication there. Seemed a little bit slow on the engage, but yeah. Ultimately, it's a 1-for-1 trade. I think LGD with a little sharper execution there could have maybe got a 1-for-0 or maybe 2-for-0. So that's actually a kind of big deal. They will probably still be able to take the tier 2 off this, though, and I'm guessing IG will just let them. Unless, well, they might try to defend as it looks. Ferrari without BKB, he's walking on top of a ward right now. This is actually pretty scary. But they could hold. Looks like they will indeed. Alright.
LGD aren't taking the risk at the moment. Sylar does have the full Abyssal Blade, and he's got the Aegis, so... Like, there's no reason why they can't take the risk. There's no reason why they
I really feel like they should be taking this tower with overcharge on the PA and just have her hitting it. And then if IG try to engage... I mean, they have everything, right? They have the split, they have their BKBs, they have Supernova, and the enemy team doesn't have Global. They should know that, because Faith used it on the relocate. So I feel like, how much better of a chance are you going to get it as LGD in the next 5 minutes before your Aegis is gone?
Well, both BKBs only just came off cooldown. Like, when we were saying they should be pushing the tier 2 tower, they still had 10 seconds left on the cooldown at both the BKBs. On
the Aegis is actually gone now, in like 10 seconds. So I feel like that's just an opportunity wasted. Now they're going to need to wait for the next Roche, and that's... Guess what? That's just going to mean more farm for both Sniper and Morphling.
I'd also say it's going to be the next timing for IG to smoke gank it up. They know the Aegis is gone. They know the timing for it, so just group and kill. And in fact, it's LGD who are doing the smoke, and again, it's this 3-man combo. The Brew, the Phoenix, as well as the VS. They searched for an opening before on the bottom lane and couldn't find it. This time they're going directly into the small camps, but... IAG sitting up next to the Ancients, and they're sitting as 5. So this smoke gank won't be successful. The Observer Ward scouted out Chuan. It's going to see Burning as well. But are they really wanting to take a fight? Well, I know there's a relocate available.
Oh, Chuan. Oh, whoa, what a blink.
Yep. That relocate's going to be completely wasted. They break
and they use
the
their own
trees
smoke
and IG is
instantly
gone.
for a counterplay. This could be... I think LGD are just going to get the hell out of there. This could be good for IG if anyone sticks around. Looks like they might. Now with relocate down, if they catch them right here,
their Observer Ward sees it.
It's actually going to take a while.
The gem is going to be allowing them to deward, primarily because they put that ward in the same position. But Xiaowei caught out. There's your E-Blade attack. The Culling Blade a little bit too early there. In fact, the E-Blade made it so they couldn't just keep attacking him. And then maybe jumps in with the BKB. They're looking for Luo. Wait for that PA. She crits on the coup de grace, but it only came from the Stifling Dagger. Phoenix Nova, just more of a zoning ability at the moment. It's a 1-for-1 trade-off.
That's a really nice disengage by IG. I feel like they came out ahead big time there. Sure, you trade your axe into Avenge, but once again, for them, it's all about taking these trades and being okay in the fights. And they had Supernova used, they had Brew Split used, and Ferrari had a Replicate top lane and just started farming a bit. So ultimately, it didn't really lose anything. And LGD lost time, and they used BKB on the Brew, I think. They didn't use it on the PA, though, so that's a nice play by Sylar holding on to that. He didn't really need it.
He did most of his damage on that Stifling Dagger.
But no BKBs used by the Radiant. And that's going to be important. When a game goes past minute 50, who has the 8-second BKBs and who has the 5-second ones often determines the outcome of a game.
So I still don't want to class this game as over until, like, even when we do hit plus 50 minutes and IG have so much power on the Sniper and the Morphling. Because I'm looking at Sylar, and this PA should not be underestimated. The amount of damage he is capable of achieving during a fight in such a short space of time, that's what gives you such a huge turnaround. Where IG feel like they got the fight, and then all of a sudden one crit for 1600, and you're looking at a Sniper and a Morphling who have a beast stick of life and have to get the hell out of there.
Well, LGD can win this game past minute 70. Like, it's not that they can't win, it's just that the margin for error becomes slower, becomes smaller gradually. Yeah, that's
They've also found themselves a courier if they can. Yep, that's got a gem. That courier it actually picked up the gem from the silencer and gets itself away.
But yeah, what was I saying? The margin for error just gets smaller because IG will have more and more items, and it's all about the BKB timing. And Brewmaster is just a fact this hero falls off, right? The BKBs, even the Brew Split itself, is going to be so weak that Sniper and Morphling can just destroy it. So the longer it goes, the stronger PA obviously gets, and her crits scale so incredibly well that you can solo core win a game with PA against 2 or maybe even 3 cores on some occasions. But the thing is, any single mistake from Sylar, and he gets caught and they have nothing, right? Then the fight is lost. If Sylar dies, the fight is lost. Whereas for IG, if Sniper or Morphling dies, they can still keep fighting, they can buy back and reset the fight and re-engage around the middle part of the map. Especially when BOTs become a thing. You can say Sylar will also get BOTs, but he has the weakest hero when BKB is down. I think he's just going to get controlled completely by the Radiant. And even when it's up, there's still Berserker's Call, which, because Luo gets 40 armor casting that, he actually isn't even going to die that fast to the crits.
Well, we'll see if you're right as we get nearer the future, but for now I'm also watching Maybe, who's got 4.4k. So, sure, PA may go down quickly if you're going to get E-bladed, but once you've got the Satanic up and running, and if you got something like an Assault Cuirass buff up for LGD, they're buying themselves a lot more potential for these late game fights. We do have the full Butterfly now over for Morphling, so it's going to be a bit more problematic for Sala to in fact attack into that Morphling.
He will be getting MKB as his next item, I think, before he gets the Satanic.
Is there any real choice?
Well, the nice thing about PA is she has a built-in crit, so the whole dilemma with should I get Daedalus or MKB isn't really there. MKB is just a better choice in like 99% of the cases, so I'm pretty sure Sala will get that. My only question mark is the Satanic.
Like that, do you just try and solo him up? Is the Satanic even worth it for this game?
Yes, it is. He will be getting Satanic, but he'll get the MKB first after using this Aegis. I think the full item build for Salar will be Boots of Travel, BKB, Abyssal, Satanic, MKB, and then maybe he sells his Battle Fury for, say, maybe a Butterfly if he feels like that's worth it, or even a Rapier, a super late game. He could do something like that, or a Skadi.
Is this next level warding from Faith? He put an Observer Ward just above the top rune area, but he 4-staffed himself up, TP'd himself out, so he could get this ward into position. So it cannot be seen by... is there any ward that'll even see that? Because you walk around with a gem, so you're trying to protect your ward positioning. Nice jump in. They've caught out the Brewmaster. Global Silence as well, in for the E-Blade, but he had cheats on the Brewmaster, triggers it off, and now Luo is in way too deep. They're going to find their pick off on the Axe.
Oh, relocate mid too?
Dead.
If they find Burning, this is the bigger kill.
He's going to BKB. The Abyssal Blade's up, but they're not going to get there in time to trigger it.
That's still a BKB used for IG. So they traded BKBs, one from Brew for one from Sniper, and they killed the Axe. So that's a pretty good fight here for LGD. They might be able to force a buyback even if they try to go high ground here. They still have Brew Split, they still have Aegis.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Is IG going to give them the fight? But they are kind of searching for it. They're going to be slowed down. Comes your Shrapnel just to cause Silas some problems, but MMY just buffing him up as much as he possibly can. And they beat into the melee rake, so it looks like they're going to let it happen. Because on bottom lane, Ferrari is trying to push the tier 3 tower. He's not going to move fast enough, and there's your Echo Slam. Big jump in by Chuan, maybe so low. He's going to go for the Brewmaster split out as Sylar initiates over on Chuan. The Vengeful Spirit attack will in fact kill him off. But he just took the melee rakes. Ferrari working very quickly through that melee on the bottom, and this is going to be almost a full trade-off. He hasn't got it properly though. Yule stepped it up in towards the air, but he may as well finish the job. There's not enough of LGD coming back to stop this. In fact, yeah, they're going to lose the full bottom racks. Maybe in Xiaowei are trying to retreat, but LGD just cannot fall back in time. Even Phoenix in fear is Nobit himself behind the racks, and Ferrari's done this solo.
Yeah, this is the advantage they got from Chuan's initiation there. I think part of the Echo Slam was, of course, wishing that they could win the fight, but the other part was just delaying, right? Stalling out LGD, forcing them to use their split and try to take the fight while Ferrari takes the bottom lane. So it's a Rex trade. Who died on the Radiant? I think only Chuan died with that Echo Slam, so a pretty even trade overall. LGD, they're still getting more and more gold advantage, though. I'm surprised they got that much gold out of this with Ferrari taking the bot Rex. The graph might not have updated yet.
No, they patched that, so the graph will now update at the end of every single kill or major objective.
How the hell did they get that much gold out of that, though? They destroyed... So, Ferrari destroyed a Rex more. That's more team gold, since he got the ranged Rex too. And the only hero they lost mid was the Shaker. Yep. So how did LGD get that much more gold? I'm a little confused.
I'm not sure myself.
Did they get... Did I miss anything? Did they get like a lot of farm, like a stack somewhere, or...?
No. They didn't even look. There wasn't an Ancient. They didn't kill a Courier. Both Couriers are up for both sides.
It's starting to be a substantial gold lead for LGD. It could also just be the Midases coming off cooldown at the same time, and they used 2 Midases. Looks like that actually was the case. There's a little bit extra there too. And they are, of course, going to start playing a bigger and bigger role for LGD. You see Xiaowei sitting on 3.4k gold now, so he could start building a big item up. And the Phoenix currently working on what should be a Halberd, I guess, with this Sange. Or actually just got the Sanjin now an ultimate orb, so could be looking for,
Just
I don't know, a
Scythe?
refresher? No, not a refresher, what am I talking about? Yeah, Scythe, I guess.
Seems the better approach. Morphling's going to escape from the rest of LGD, as he was scouted out inside of his own jungle. But LGD are bringing the full wave down that bottom. They want to force this now. Yeah, Global Silence is up, but at this point, they need to try and get that counteract on bottom. Or else
They
they're
have
going
40
to be
seconds
forever
on
split
Aegis.
pushed by the Morphling. How long,
40 seconds on the Aegis. Is there a glyph for IG? There is not. So this is actually the perfect timing for LGD to go in. This is the play they need to make.
Sutler's already got his personal Aegis. He's already finished the Satanic before he did the Monkey King bar.
A little bit of an adaptive strike out on Sylar. Doesn't really care too much about it. He's going to keep going in. There's the call, though.
It was a bit quick swap out. Zhao Wei making sure there is no initiation on Sylar. Take out the tier 3 tower, and LGD trying to force this. The assassination plus E-Blade. MMY is still able to survive this one, and Chuan, Sylar's just jumped him, turned on the BKB, and the Blade Melt's going to have no effect in this case. Venom Strike in. There's a triple kill for Sylar by Ferrari. He's at least able to find one, but it's only the Wisp at this point of the game. Ferrari pushing back Zhao Wei. He doesn't have E-Blade, doesn't have an Adaptive Strike available. They're going to Magic Missile. Well, there's your Adaptive Strike. Waveforms over the Magic Missile. We should be keeping our eyes pretty closely on Sylar. He might have lost the Aegis to the Immortal. That Gem of True Sight's just still sitting on the ground. I think Sylar's going to be the man to pick it up. But they didn't take out the Rax.
They got the Radiant mid ones, though. So while all that was happening, they did finish off the full lane mid. They got the tier 3 tower bottom. And they managed to get out, only losing their 2 supports. I'd call that a win for LGD again. The gold is pretty much what it was before. They also forced out, let me see, was that 2 buybacks? No, 1 buyback. They bought back the Axe. Shaker bought back way earlier. So I'm guessing that's what happened in that mid-fight. Tron bought back. That's why they lost all that gold earlier.
Yeah, that would explain it.
Yeah, LGD with a pretty big win here. They've opened up the bottom lane. This means when they get the next Aegis, this is probably a second lane of Rax. So now the question is if IG want to try to put some pressure on and prevent that from happening and maybe fight in the Roche pit. I feel like if they just let LGD get every single Roshan of the game, they're going to ultimately lose at some point. Now with the Scythe of Vice up on the Phoenix, Yao is starting to become a real threat here. The Hex is crucial for bringing down a hero like Morphling. PA can't miss on the Butterfly then. And alternatively, they could Hex someone like Silencer so he can't global, or they can Hex the Shaker when he jumps in so he doesn't even echo. There's a lot of plays with this Hex in the game that could win the game for LGD.
We're going for a blind smoke from IG. They don't have any vision on the dire side of the map. The only observer what they have is this Radiant one, which is sitting on top of the cliff, which is in a rather unique position. That's the only bit of vision it has. But they're not going to find anyone from LGD, because LGD are hovering around the bottom. They still want to push out this bottom lane, which is, I'm surprised that IG aren't searching for the kill down here. They leave an aggressive observer ward inside the dire jungle. Yeah, well, if at first you don't succeed, smoke and smoke again.
Well, they gained some intel there. They can probably narrow it down to LGD are most likely in our jungle. This is going to be a very dead Xiao Wei.
It's the worst hero they could have found. But they wanted a core. They didn't want Xiao Wei for a double smoke.
Oh, they relocate in.
Wait,
They're actually going to try this.
They're actually going in for this one? MMY so low. The Phoenix Nova trying to buy some space. Ferrari just turns on the BKB. He's not attacking hard or fast enough, which means Yao will come out of this, gets the stun, and that's allowing Sylar to get himself a triple kill. All the space in the world for the Phantom Assassin. It's an ultra kill for Sylar. The Morphling, the only man to escape out of here. And this will just be a push for glory. LGD through the bottom lane, and IG, not the fight they were looking for.
Yeah, I was really surprised LGD got away with that 4 and 5. So they lose the Venge, then they choose to engage into a team that still has Global Silence. Ferrari uses the shotgun on the IO and brings him down to like a 10th of his health, but they didn't finish off the Wisp. MMY never died in that fight, and that's the difference between a won and a lost fight. If Wisp dies there, I think LGD lose the fight, because then Sylar isn't mobile enough and doesn't hit fast enough. But with MMY barely staying alive, they got all the time in the world, like you said. Phoenix got off a good supernova that Ferrari tried to destroy on his own, but he was attacking uphill and missed like what seemed to be half of his attacks. So also got a little unlucky there. I don't know if he would have got it anyway. And that fight was just, wow, LGD getting away with a 4 and 5 fight like that. The only thing they used in the engage from IG onto the Avenge was the Berserker's Call, I think, and maybe the shotgun, but it got ready again. Worth noting too, though, Chuan's blink failed. He didn't blink Echo, he got stopped by something, and that would have been another turning point in that fight for IG. So LGD keeping good tabs on the Shaker as well. playing a really good fight there.
It kind of felt too that LGD got just done into a choke point when that fissure got thrown out as well. It just got really claustrophobic all of a sudden on that ramp, and LGD couldn't get in close. Like the fact that Ferrari was the only man in range for the Nova, like I almost want to say the positioning from Yao was also perfect because he sat basically around here, and then the rest of IG is still trying to push up to the high ground. And I think that's the only reason why LGD were capable of winning that fight. Really? Okay.
Okay. Double BKB Abyssal Satanic. Well, it is really good. So
I'm not going to shy away from having 2 permanent stuns, which you can get through a BKB, like activatables, plus the double Satanic.
And you can reactivate your Kuda class too.
You're not fucking me with that one cent. I already sent you a message before saying I don't know what's happening this morning. Like my level of brain fart, like I could be Mr. Methane as a caster right now for some of the crap I've said during this game. But
it's all good.
You're not getting me on that.
Oh, that's the 4th, I think, Roshan of the game for LGD.
Yep.
They've now accumulated more than a 20k gold and experience lead. And I'm really surprised that they're staying ahead as much as they are in this game. I was pretty sure that IG's draft would ultimately collapse on them and they would get a good team fight, but LGD have still not really lost a big team fight since the one, I don't know, how long ago was that, 20 minutes ago? They've pretty much led the game the whole time with their Midases.
Well,
just the raw farm coming in is just way too much.
And what is IG even really meant to do about it? Like, the split push is kind of like their only strength they had, which was really nicely displayed as well by Ferrari when they ended up going in for that trade-off with the bottom racks for the mid melee. Like that was fantastic. You saw the strength from the IG lineup, but where the rest of the other heroes from IG really come into play? Like, how do they keep LGD at bay and stop them from farming every single portion of the map? Because Sylar just walks through, and it doesn't matter how big your creep wave is, he takes one swing and you've lost your momentum. Yeah, that's a Xiao Wei pipe. Chorn jumping in. Nice fissure with the global silence. They might be killing off Sylar at the moment. And yes, they will. He couldn't actually get the Satanic off, but he's got no way to get back to the front lines at the moment. Maybe he could buy those BTs now. But the Brumar split into a Nova. They've got a little bit of space. And Luo, yeah, that's trouble for him. Phantom Assassin. Wait, okay. He's back.
Yeah, they ported back MMY and relocated him in.
That's the way to do it.
Well, if he dies again now, Sylar, this is a really big problem. That would be a dieback, but they do get the Morphling who's buying back as well. They will try to chase Sylar to the ends of the earth right here. That's the biggest kill they could get.
Problem
but
is,
LG looks like they're going to maybe get out.
They need more control. Ferrari's jumped in. He's going to get Hex, and Sylar just turns around. There's your crit. Ferrari's going to drop. Faith will go, and this is GG. They've lost too many players. In fact, Burning just gets smacked.
Get wrecked.
Oh, that's just rough. That's rough and dirty.
That was a really nice mid-game from LGD. The early game was slightly won by IG, but they never managed to accumulate enough of a lead, and ultimately when this push comes in, having items like a pipe on the Venge, all of this adds up, right? They blocked pretty much the entire Echo Slam. The only thing Echo Slam really did was stun up their targets, and sure, they do get the kills, but they get them that extra bit slower, and all of those small advantages that they gathered with their double Midases just accumulate to too much in the end. Phoenix got really big this game after. You saw how much he struggled in lane. He was like completely out of the game for the first few minutes, but still manages to come back strong and get way stronger than the Radiant offlaner in Axe. So, yeah. Impressive game from LGD, and they do it in exactly 50 minutes, too, with style. Yeah,
well, let's see if they can do it in style for a 2-0. The Grand Final's coming up next after we see the winner of this game, of course, when they go up against VG Gaming, and that would be a remake for LGD. They're the ones that got knocked down from the upper bracket. IG has had to fight their way through that lower bracket, taking out eHome previously. So let's see if IG have what it takes to also save the rares for the kids at home. 70% of people actually bet their rares on IG, so if you bet for LGD, you...
That's surprising.
Well, it's because IG have just basically been tearing apart the Chinese scene of late.
I guess it's also the star power. When you have a team with Burning and Ferrari, for example, then you have a lot of fans, but...
At the same time, you got Xiao Wei and Sylar and MMY, maybe Yao.
Yeah, the two teams are so star-studded that I don't even know if you can actually give that as the reason. It's just... LGD were in the winner bracket finals, and IG weren't. So you're actually betting the majority of the bets on the team that was knocked down earlier. I don't know, was IG knocked down by Vici Gaming? Because then I guess it makes sense to an extent. But
IG was knocked down by LGD.
Oh, they were. So they were.
This is actually
okay.
a remake. They had that was their 2-1 result in the upper bracket semi-final. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Break time. Break time. I'm gonna find my brain, and we'll see you all back here in a couple of moments. Game number 2, IG vs LGD for the D2CL, continues in a moment.